Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. Today, I want to talk to you about what to look for when buying a hand plane. Okay, so you have a couple options when choosing hand planes. First of all, are you going to buy new or are you going to buy used? So when I started a few years ago, I had to go with used because I'm on a budget and I can get great deals. So normally, I've talked about this before, but normally I go to flea markets. That's my best bet for getting used planes. And let's see, let's start. What can we do with budget planes? First things first. You can get all kinds of different names. I like to try to get Stanley planes because they were just a standard. They're good planes. They're made well. But you can get Keen Cutter, Union, Sargent, other names and stuff like that. But there's some important things that you want to look for and be sure that you look at these things before you buy. And so let's start out. Number one, first of all, you want to just check the body for cracks, chips, major damage. So on this plane, I bought this at a garage sale, an estate sale actually, and I just looked it over. Now, I've refurbed this tool. I cleaned it up and everything, but there was no major damage. So you want to check the wings here on the sides. You want to check these, check the bottom. See if I can get light better. Check the bottom. Just make sure there's no chips out of anything. One thing I see that happens pretty often is right here. These will be cracked off, these little wings in the back. And then sometimes you'll see cracks up the sides or whatever. So just look for those. You don't want any major body damage. So that's the first thing. Second thing, totes and knobs. So you've got your tote and your knob here. Just want to make sure that these are not all cracked. A lot of times you'll find that they break right here in half. Let me see, I'm talking as I'm holding that up in front of my face. Sorry about that. But yeah, a lot of times you'll see them crack right off here. And then, of course, this depends on if it's raised or not, but there can be cracks and it can be messed up. It's not the end of the world, but you better get the plane for a good deal if you're going to get that. If you're going to buy a number 4, number 5 plane, you better get it really cheap if you're going to have to worry about repairing knobs and stuff like that. So watch for those. The third thing I would say that's really important is you really don't want heavy pitting. So a lot of times the bottoms of the planes will be pitted, and if it's really light, you can take it out when you abrade it on sandpaper. But if it's really heavy, I never mess with it. I suggest just staying away. If the iron, here, let me take the iron out of this. So let me pull this up. So let's see if you can see that. You can see this is pretty shiny. That's better. It's pretty shiny. This one was not pitted, but if your iron gets pitted, then you're going to have troubles when you actually go to put an edge on it. It's not going to hold, potentially not going to hold an edge well. So watch out for pitting. Okay, so the next thing you want to check is still with the iron. You want to make sure that you have plenty of it left. So see how this is the iron here. Again, it's sticking way up past the lever cap. So this is your lever cap, and you pull this little piece up right here. Let me see if I can do it in better view for you. It's actually a little tight, but anyhow, yeah. So just check and make sure that your iron is extending above, and that you've got a lot of life left here. But as you sharpen, you take a little bit off each time. But that's going to take you a really long time. So if you see the iron way down in here, then you may need to reconsider if you're going to get that plane or not, because irons are kind of expensive. Another thing that I like to look for is brass adjustment knobs. So this knob right here, this is a brass knob. Some of them did not come with brass knobs. They came with like a hard rubber plastic. They were made in later years. I don't like the look of them, but they function all right as far as I can tell. So they're not bad planes. So if you get a number 4 for $10 and it's in good shape, but it's got one of those rubber plastic adjusters, it's not a big deal. However, I like the brass ones. So if that matters to you, you can look for ones with brass. Also, you can buy knobs that fit, number 4 knobs that are brass. If you get one that's rubber, black rubber, but you want a brass one, you can go online and get it. But you're usually going to pay more than you would to actually just buy the whole plane at a flea market. So just, look for whatever you want. It doesn't deter me. I have both. So guess that's just personal preference. A lot of times too, the brass ones, if I'm correct, I think I'm correct on this, they're usually like pre-World War II planes if they have brass. During the war, they went to like that rubber material to save on the brass. So, just a little bit of knowledge there. Okay, so next thing you want to do is just make sure that the plane is generally flat. So if you sit it down on something and it's really rocking, or you could just look down the sole and you can just see that it's warped or something, I'd stay away from it. Okay, the next thing, if you can only buy one plane, I would get a number 5 because it's going to do everything that you really needed to do in a pinch. So you can use it as a smoothing plane, you can use it as a joiner plane, or you can use it as a plane to rough out and dimension your wood. So you may have to get a couple different irons for it, but I just wanted to throw that in there. If you have to make a hard decision about only one plane, look for number 5, and there's a boatload of them out there. You can find them generally at any flea market usually. And usually I find number 4s or 5s. So if you can get both, get a 4 and a 5. And finally, don't pay more than $20, I'd say. I mean, maybe $25 for a nice plane, but you can get these planes usually for $20 or less. So just keep that in mind. If it's really, really nice and it's $25 or $30 and you have the money, yeah, it's worth it. But you can find really good deals on these planes. They're everywhere. So anyway, that's my tips on some things to look for. I made some mistakes when I first started getting into this. I bought some that were heavily pitted. I bought some that I didn't see had cracks in them, things like that, just because I was in a hurry and it was there and it was cheap. But I bought a lot of great planes at really fantastic deals at flea markets. So just look for these things and you're going to be fine. Oh yeah, one more thing. If you've never actually used a plane or looked at one, maybe try to find a friend or somebody that has one you can hold it up close and examine it. Otherwise, just find pictures of the plane and just go over it to make sure you know what all the pieces look like and everything. That way when you find one, you can see if anything's missing. There's really not much to this. It's really simple. Don't be afraid or intimidated to get out there and look for planes. It'll be just fine. So anyhow, that's my tip this week. I appreciate you being here. And until next time, always remember life's most important order: love God, love each other, and woodwork. We'll see you next time.